Hey guys, Paul here from Realty Connect. I'm here with my partner, Renee Murino, and we have a special guest today, Renee Stoecker from Pyramid Abstract. Actually, we were talking before you walked in, but my brother and I were thinking like we know each other 25,
Yeah.
almost probably
25,
30
26 years, yeah.
Wow. We go back to like 1996, 97, and we actually were dealing with your mom, right?
Yes, yes.
We started with Kathy, and my brother and I, and we had worked, and we were flipping houses in the very beginning.
Yes.
And here, 26 years later, you've taken the helm, and we had the blessings and luxury of working with you. So
Well, she's still with us.
yeah, she is.
Right.
She is. She's behind the
Still
scenes,
working.
but all good stuff. So we're happy
Yes.
to have you. We have a bunch of questions. Obviously, things in the market are changing. A lot of things happening, and the understanding of title is very important to us as we do a lot of land development work. You've been a great partner of ours through the 20 years of educating us. So we have the opportunity, hopefully, to educate the rest of the world in some of the things that we're doing and on the understanding of title. So Renee, if you can, just give us a little bit of insight on how Pyramid all started.
So, yeah, it was
Many moons ago.
many moons ago, yes. My mom has been in the business for a very long time and worked for another company. And I was coming out of college with a finance degree, thinking I was going to the city and work my way in there somehow and work my way up. And she said, I think I'm going to open my own company, what do you think? And I said, great, that's amazing, good for you. And my plan was still to go to the city, and one thing led to another. I started helping her with the computers and setting up different programming, and it just has snowballed. So we have, so I started learning typing and learned the business from the very bottom.
You
And
probably
now,
started
26 years later,
Wow.
You probably started like right before computers, or like just as
Well-
computers were starting.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks.
Davis.
Not that late. Not that old. Yeah, so, computers were, and I was trying to make it easier, to do the typing and make things more efficient. So, so that was it. And we have just built over time and relationships and just working with great people now. So forever, it's really
Good stuff. Yeah.
So I've been able to learn everything from the ground up and work with my mom, which
very
we
cool.
are very close and work great together.
Nice.
So it's really been a special.
Very cool.
Special
Good,
experience.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, I'm glad you came in. I'm glad we have an opportunity to talk to you. So we really appreciate it. So thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for
you.
having
you.
me. I appreciate
It's our
it.
pleasure.
With that being said, Reen, we have a couple of questions that we want to kind of get to Renee. You want to
Roll them off?
roll them off?
Sure. Inquiring minds.
Yes.
Basically, what is title? Like, what is it?
Okay, so title is the title to your house, the title to your car, something like that. But the transfer of title is at the closing when you have a buyer and a seller, and the deed is the actual title to the house. So it affects the buyer because they are seeing at the table the transfer of that home or that building or whatever it may be, residential or commercial, and it is the title of the actual real estate that they're
Purchasing.
transferring.
Okay.
Very cool. So I guess one question is, I guess it's different how it affects the seller.
Well, the seller is being paid and transferring that property to the buyer. So all their liens are being paid off on that property, and they are clean transfer to the buyer.
What is included in the title search?
What's included? So there are many different searches that are included. So the Suffolk County or any county that it's in, that the property is in, we search in that county, Suffolk, Nassau, 5 boroughs, upstate. Wherever that property is, we search and we do the whole chain of deeds and title
Right.
as it has transferred over the years from inception. We go back 40 years. So we're looking to see any open liens, anything that could affect the transfer to your purchaser.
All right, when you mention you search, like where do you typically, like where does the title company search? Like what are you searching? Like where are the files, where are the records?
All the files are in the county center.
County centers.
Everything is recorded in the county center. So that is one portion of the search. And then another portion of the search is all the town searches. Wherever that real estate is located, we search the town, and it may be a street report, a building violation report, sewer searches, COs. A lot of the towns, especially Long Island, it's CO searches. You want to see what additions they've done, anything like that, and followed the town's requirements in order to putting that on.
Awesome, good stuff.
What potential issues could come up within the search?
Oh, there's a whole slew of issues. So going back to the title search, we could see when maybe something is in a particular person, and then that person passes away. And then we want to check to make sure that that piece of property is going to be transferred now from the correct people. So is it their heirs? Was it left to somebody particular? Is there an executor? We go through the surrogates. We go through administration. We want to make sure that the buyer we're transferring over to the buyer from the correct
Seller.
seller.
Pretty intense.
So that could be, that comes up very often. Other issues could be just in the town, a building violation search, something that has come up over the years that there's debris everywhere and the town put a violation. If there's something that's built without COs, there could be potential violations.
Do you see a lot of
Fire search, if there's a fire and they want to make sure, the town wants to go through there to make sure that they have restored it properly.
Do you see like an uptick like in violation searches, like as you've done your tenure in the industry?
I don't think so.
Is there certain?
No, I don't think so. I think it's they have their inspectors that come out, and they have to make sure that it's done properly to building codes. Building codes do change,
Yes.
Over time. So that could potentially now, I know there's like amnesty times, which had just popped up for Brookhaven.
Brookhaven's doing it now.
But I would say any kind of town searches that come up can incur, something for us to clear. Open mortgages is a big thing, and it's not that the mortgage is still open. It's that the satisfaction that removes it was never filed in the county.
Which happens a lot.
Yeah.
It
happens
that happen over the summer.
A lot. It really does happen a lot, and
Especially on home equity.
yes,
It seems
and
to...
sometimes it's not that the bank didn't send it. It's that there's a typo or there's one little, thing that needs to be corrected, and the county won't record it. So it sits, and there's, so it never gets filed. So sometimes we have to do clearance, and we do that with prior title companies. That's where we have the whole chain from the county, and we can see what title company may have insured it prior to. We get clearance. We do all that background.
Pretty intense.
Behind the scenes.
So you would even reach out to the prior title if they're still around? Okay.
Yes, we work with prior title companies all the time. And we all work well together.
Good.
We help each other out because they're going to need something, we're going to need something, and it's part of,
Included in the town too is even code violations, I guess. If there's a code violation against...
Absolutely. Any kind
There's a lot of code violations that you don't realize because people just think my CO or what's in the building department, but pools, etc. We had that happen.
Right. So that would be an open permit. If the pool, they have an
Right.
open permit, it comes up on the search. Whether it affects and they want to buy it subject to an open permit or not, We don't insure all of those town searches. So if they want to buy subject to an open permit, the attorneys discuss this and they're going to work it out, or they're removing it, or things are, that's not something that we are too concerned with. We provide the information.
And then the attorney makes the
And
decision.
then we turn it over, so.
What is title insurance?
Okay, so title insurance is, there are two policies. So the buyer is buying their own policy, and that is an owner's policy.
Right.
And that is covering them so to the amount of the purchase price. So they purchase at $600,000. We provide a policy for $600,000. That's what they pay for. And then if they're taking a mortgage, the bank requires them to insure themselves, the bank. So that's another policy. So there's two different policies on a purchase.
Yeah.
So it's the owner's policy and a loan policy. If they're buying cash, they don't need the loan policy, obviously, which does make it a little bit less, and they don't have all the mortgage tax. Not everybody can purchase cash, but
I know.
you know,
Although there is a lot of cash
there
out
is
there.
a lot. There is.
Lately.
So yes. So that covers the owner. If there was to be a title claim, they are insured up to the purchase price.
Okay. Have you seen that happen where,
We have
something
not had
rears
claims,
its head and you're like, oh,
but
that
it
never
happens.
showed up.
It's
And all of a
rare.
sudden it just
but there,
finds its way.
there's fraud. There's things not recorded at times.
Yeah.
We hear about them. There are claims. Our underwriters do. They have a whole claims department for that, lawsuits and such. But we've been fortunate.
Good.
So-
You're good at your job.
Good.
well,
The more thorough you are.
Things
Yeah.
happen. Yes. Yeah. And when you're working with good people,
Yeah.
you really try to avoid
Any complications.
shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
Yeah. Okay. What are the general fees associated with title search and insurance?
Yes, general fees are the policy fees, which are based on the purchase price and the loan amount. So that is New York regulated. Every title company charges the same. That's all New York State DFS regulated, TIRSA insurance. So that's all the same. The other fees are recording fees, which that's pretty much all the same as well. Every county charges different. Nassau County has additional fees, tax map verification fee it's called. Separate, that they both have it, but it just is additional. So every county has different fees. We have upstate fees that are so small, and then we have Long Island fees, Manhattan.
Yeah.
Fees are-
Well, Long Island fees, I feel like in the last so many years have really jumped up.
Right, so that's recording
But
fees.
it's all part of the state, so.
Right. We collect the mortgage tax, we
Right.
collect the transfer tax, everything being collected at the closing as far as going to the state, going to the county, those fees we collect. So it's on our title bill, and it increases our title bill based on your purchase price
Right.
and loan amount. But that goes with, the transfer tax goes with the deed, we cut that to the county clerk, and the mortgage tax goes with the mortgage recording, and that goes to the county. The rest of the fees are search fees, so everything that we are searching through the town. Then we also do bankruptcy searches, Patriot searches. There's escrow service fees if we're collecting taxes. Sometimes we're collecting real estate taxes at the time of,
Right.
depending on when the
Right,
closing
right,
is happening. If it's around tax time, the bank will ask us to make sure that their taxes are paid. So we collect that, and then when the time comes to pay that bill, we pay it for them. So there's a lot on it that we collect, but a lot of it is
Going out, because
Going
you're only
out.
collecting it. You're not charging it.
Right, right. But it's our job to
Right.
make sure that is all paid out
Yeah, you take control of that.
appropriately.
I will ask you one question that, in terms of when the banks request taxes, every bank different. We get some banks would say, I want to see 8 months worth of reserves,
Yes.
or 10 months, or 4.
Yes. Sometimes you'll have a bank where they'll say, we're going to collect it, and they're
the bank collects
setting up their escrow,
Right.
I guess, a little sooner. Another bank will say, okay, it's 45 days. We want the title company to pick it up because they're not going to set it up until 60 days.
Got it.
Right.
But it's usually 45 to 60 days is,
what you're saying.
is the standard.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So what type of title insurance policy would a potential purchaser need, and what does it cover? We kind of talked about it a little bit, but
Right. So that would really depend on whether they're taking a mortgage or not.
Right.
Either way, the owner's
Yeah.
policy is a standard, and that's going to insure them up to the purchase price. If they're taking a mortgage, then the bank requires them to get that policy,
Right.
and it covers the bank.
yeah. What happens if someone's doing, after they pay down their mortgage a little bit and then they go and get a home equity line of credit?
A lot of
that
times
kept-
they don't require it to be insured.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
The home equity line.
Because it's
Yeah. And it
because it's
doesn't
against the
matter
home.
if it's the same bank or a different
Really?
bank. Yeah, the home
Yeah.
equities,
I didn't
a
think it
lot of
did.
times they won't
They
insure.
don't.
They
Yeah.
will do a title search to see
Yeah.
that what position they're going to be in.
Right.
And that's what the bank wants to know. They want to know, aside from the home equities, they want to know what position they're in. They want to
Yeah.
make sure when
They're
they're
in second,
purchasing
right.
that they're in first position, because if the buyer doesn't pay and they need to start the foreclosure process, they want to make sure that
They're
first to get.
Right. Don't blame
Yes,
them.
Yes.
How long does a title search typically take?
Title searches are, I would say, estimated a week to 2 weeks.
Okay.
There's different things that will change that. Different towns some are faster than others.
Yeah.
So sometimes we'll have a town that it takes 4 to 6 weeks. Sometimes towns are a week that we get everything back. So we
Right.
can't really put our package together. And a lot of times we'll put most of it together, and then the CO
Right,
search
start
will
dripping
follow based on the town turnaround time.
So theoretically, when you're pulling searches, let's even bring it down to the village level. So if someone's buying a home, you're doing a search in the village,
Yes.
you're doing a search in the town,
Yes.
and you're doing a search in the county
Right.
for that particular.
Right.
Property.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're waiting on them to provide,
The information.
and their turnaround time,
Sometimes it
our
takes-
hands are
right.
tied. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's we can try and push things along, but there's some towns that your hands are really tied.
Yeah.
Do you see with the evolution of computers and stuff,
the digital world.
streamlining
Yeah.
your world a little bit?
Yes. Yes. Definitely.
Some towns are probably more, are they more, I'm going
Yes.
to say
Right.
up to, because they
Yes.
might be digital now.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of them have gone digital. So if it's not somebody manually going over to a file
Right.
and pulling a file and opening it and making sure that
Yeah.
all the right stuff was filed properly,
It's amazing.
which, it's just human
Yes.
error. Things happen. But, so it takes, I would say, 1 to 2 weeks. Also, when you're asking for a new survey, then we're waiting on
Okay.
a surveyor,
Right.
which takes time. They have to go out to the property, they're doing, and that can be 2 to
And then
3
you
weeks.
gotta read that survey.
Right.
That's
Right,
the
and
title.
then when the surveyor provides us with the survey, we read that in. That's another side piece.
I don't think purchasers actually know that happens.
Right.
Because they'll say, they ordered the survey, and I'm like, that's 2 weeks, and then it still has to be read into the
Right,
title.
right.
And
Title
they're like,
report.
Yes.
So the survey
Yeah.
actually contacts you?
Well, it depends. The buyer's attorney, a lot of times will ask us, they get the okay from their client, this is the price, we'll
Right.
give an estimated price, we get few prices, and turnaround time, and then the attorney will tell us, yes, please order this, and we order it for them.
okay.
Then we deal with the surveyor direct. They send us the survey. As soon as it's in, we let them know and provide those updates. There's some attorneys that like to order their own surveys. They, like to handle that
Yeah.
portion. And as soon as it's ready, they send it over and we get the work
Take care
done.
of it.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Very good.
interesting.
Yeah.
It's a whole different world of.
it is. It's
Right.
a lot of
There's a lot goes on.
background that goes on,
Yeah.
and then you put the package,
together.
Yeah.
pieces together, and then that's what the attorney looks at, goes through and reviews, and we provide in the title report all the different things that need to be looked at, cleared. We need a death certificate, we need a this, we need a, it's all in the exceptions for them to look at and say, okay, based on this, and we work with the attorneys, clearing mortgages, clearing different things.
Right. Them sending you satisfactions or whatever they're picking
Right.
up.
And then once all of that is cleared, then it's
Ready to go.
clear to
And it's
close.
pretty cool. You know, one entity that has to work with the bank, the buyer's attorney, the seller's attorney, the broker, like
All the
there's-
parties.
every
Yeah.
party.
Yeah.
You touch every
Yeah,
party.
We do.
You are
Yeah.
you're connected.
Yeah. Part of the team.
Yeah.
Right, yeah,
Right? Because it
definitely.
really doesn't happen without
Without you
everybody.
guys, right.
Yeah.
Every piece has,
Yes.
has
Piece of the puzzle importance. Good stuff.
Yep. Very good.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
It is interesting.
Yeah.
It's the whole history of the home,
It
of the
is-
property.
Exactly.
Whatever it is.
Exactly.
It's
the
amazing.
history. Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes it does go back,
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. You're digging up things that you're like, wow,
You
who
didn't
knew?
know this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised. There's probably sometimes searches of people who you do know, right?
Yeah.
Like in terms of,
Or even just the who's who's. There's so many who's who's that were on Long Island, all the old blue bloods and stuff, the aristocrats.
Yeah.
Where it originally started, the property.
Right.
Right.
You take the South Shore, Nickel owned everything. And then when you look and you see it started piecing off.
Right.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, good stuff. We're happy that you stopped by. I'm glad we got to
Always
chat.
good.
Thank you for
Always,
having
always
me.
good to see you. Everybody out there, so for all your title needs, phone number, email address, let everybody know, please.
Email Renee at pyramidtitle.com, and our phone number 631-698-5090.
Thank you again. Please, again, guys, follow, like, subscribe, comment. We appreciate your time. Thank you, and God bless.